Hi guys, Keyless Entry here. Just doing a follow-up video from yesterday. If you watched yesterday, I explained how I snapped my Sparrow's pick in this cheap and nasty, naughty lock. So I decided to do an autopsy and find out what the problem was. Before I took it apart, I assumed, well, it felt like pin 3 was jamming up. I couldn't understand why. I put this good stuff in there, WD-40 in there, and a bit of this stuff, and still nothing really. Just felt really seized up, and I was really eager to get it opened. I try to open a few locks a day. This is usually the first one I'd go to, and then on to the Chinese ones over here, and then I'll pick the Abus, and then I'll practice on the Brava and the Lockwood I just received, which I'm not having too much luck with. I have picked the Brava off camera, but have yet to pick it on camera. So it is a 6-pinner there. Just you see the bitting on it there. It's not too bad. I have tried raking it, but I think the up and downs are too much, or my technique needs improvement. But either way, I will get the practice in, and I will feature this opening and gutting once I get all the gutting tools and, of course, my practicing. So this morning, went out in the backyard and took this very nice lock out there, and what I've done was just took my trusty file and from the bottom of the lock, just filed these little pin heads off. So I'll just try to lift this up very carefully because it is disassembled. But yeah, so I had these pins on the bottom holding all these plates together of the laminated lock. So I removed the bottom plate, and this pin came flying out. This spring, rather, came flying out. That's what tensions the shackle. And also, this came out. So you've got a brass core here, copper core, brass core, and a plastic Bible. So it was sitting around the core. We'll try to sort of simulate how it was. And what damage was done through the use and picking. So basically it was like that when I took it out, with all the pins inside of it, of course. It was not cracked on this section here. That happened after I took it out, but all this you can see is just mangled. Yeah, it's just, I mean, when you mix plastic with steel or any type of metal, the plastic is always going to lose, and in this case it has lost and cost me a pick. I did want to show you how these locks are made, sort of thing. So these are little stamped out plates that make up the body of the lock, which are held together through these pins. So they're all stacked on top of each other. And this will give us an awesome angle to see the actuator in the rear of the lock. And there's no spring in there now, but I'm just going to demonstrate how they work. So we've got spring, there's spring tensioned. Doing this through the camera here. Get a better tool for that. So they are spring tensioned, as you can see, each side for the posing. And so in unrestricted keyways and unrestricted locks, when you have your bypass tool, what you're essentially doing is pulling or pushing these aside to let go of the locking paws that hold the shackle in place. So now that I've got it taken apart, I'll just do both at the same time with this tool, while pulling on the shackle with because it's got no spring in it now, and that's how it comes apart there. So I'm just going to continue taking this apart, finish the autopsy if I can. Yeah, easier said than done. I'm trying to get these off. So more of these. there goes the rest of the bits. Spring, the locking mechanism. Okay, that won't come off there for some reason. Okay, that must go around the shackle. So all these pins need to come out. So it's quite a bit of a complex to make this. It's got a lot of parts, you know, but there's a lot of parts they could have improved on, I feel, like the plastic Bible. So there it is, totally disassembled. All the parts that make up the lock, that's the bottom there. So yes, that is the lock disassembled. One interesting thing I found was the pins that were contained inside. I have lost one key pin, but if you can see, the driver pins are actually little spools. Not the best spools I've seen, but I think they are meant to represent spools. I doubt that's deformation. They are definitely spools there, so interesting. I never felt any counter rotation while I was picking this, ever. It's just a cheap and nasty lock, really. It doesn't deserve the time. So just wanted to follow up on yesterday's video, and yes, I have found the problem, and the problem was plastic cores are no good. Don't use your good picking tools for cheap locks. Use some cheap picking tools. That's my takeaway lesson from here anyway. So yes, don't use expensive tools for expensive locks, high security locks. Don't use good picks for these rubbish cheap Chinese plastic Bible security pinned padlocks. So this is video 2 of my little challenge, 1 video per week for 1 week. Yeah, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, evening or night, wherever you are, and take care.